I'm from Michecham, and I'm in Canberra for my greetings to everyone. Today we have a very important topic to talk about, and that topic is going to be government. In Chiyakano, Amemgo Munsem. Government, as you say, well, yeah, now sometimes the problem is so I think I should speak English because most people understand the English language more than the local vernacular. A government is a permanent institution that is accepted by people in the area to take action of all public and private affairs or life of the area and the area people. A government is responsible for making sure that there's discipline, there's progress, there's peace, and everybody has an idea of what that institution is doing for him or for her in the country or in the area. Government is an institution that is permanently established to make sure that there is a leader, 2, that there are laws, 3, and those who make sure that the laws are obeyed to ensure peace, tranquility, and progress in the area. Ghana, as a nation, came into being in 1957. Before that, the area called Ghana consisted of at least 60 different tribal groups. Each of the groups had their own system of government, how to organize themselves to ensure peace and progress among the area group. Should I say tribes? Before 1957, the entire Ghana area of 92,000 square miles consisted of about at least 60 tribal groups. The major group at the time, before they called a place called Gold Coast, the biggest group was the Asantefo. Now we call them Asantefo. Esa Inti, because of war. That group, they consisted about 70 to 75% of the entire Ghana area or the Gold Coast area. So the major group at the time was the Ashantis. There were other groups, a total of about 60. Some people called it about 90. But you can still even narrow it into another type of group called, instead of Asantefo or Asantefo, Fantefo, Zemang, this and that, you can call them governing bodies. All these bodies had organized themselves to form a small group up there that carries out laws and traditions and customs and make sure these laws are obeyed. When we got independent, we copied a way of governing ourselves. We didn't in fact copy it. They brought it from Britain as a force. The British Constitution that Nkrumah had was devised based on the British system of government. It has gone through so many revolutions or evolutions. Ghana, as it is today, is regulated or controlled by the 1992 Constitution. The Constitution specifies specifically that there are three separate areas in that Constitution. There is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. This is the composition of the structure of government in Ghana. The executive is supposed to be the head of all the selected people who are governing. The legislature is a body of people who have been selected to create laws, to make laws for the nation. And the executive should see that the laws are carried out. And the legislature is there to see that every law that is coming out to the people is respected or is obeyed, to see that discipline is in the system. And there are, in fact, modern terms, about 3 different types of government or governing a country or people. The first one is called the aristocracy, or some people call it dictatorship. A government by one person who is dictating or making laws to the whole people to be respected. Like Ghana, we had the coup d'etat. Someone like Jerry Rawlings was a dictator. He was the only one who pulled a gun to silence everyone, that he's the one responsible for the government of the whole nation. Jerry Rawlings was a first dictator or a single ruler. The other type of government is called the oligarchic government. Oligarchy, those is the chiefs and kings and the aristocracy were part of the oligarchic group of governors. They claim that they have power as a very small group of people that controls the whole nation. They make laws, make sure that laws are obeyed, discipline in the system. Oligarchy are government formed by a few people. By a few people, I'm saying it can be a king with chiefs or a politician with a few group of people called ministers, or just a few people compared to the population. You get about 1% of the whole population, which is representing the oligarchic institution, forming the government. The third one is called democratic institution. That democratic institution is supposed to be a government formed by the people, also for the people, and also government of the people. That is, of for the people, for the people, and by the people. The modern government in the country, Ghana, is now called democratic government because it's supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The process is very simple. The Constitution has devised a way to make the people be part of the whole system. The Constitution has declared that there should be a periodic election. Election is that someone will come out to the public and say that I am Asamoah-Yaw. I want you to vote for me. If you choose me to become your representative in the area, I will make sure that there's progress in the area. there is peace in the area, and I'll make sure the laws are obeyed. You know, we, the people, are selecting this man to be our representative. So every area chooses one particular person to be their representative. And all the representatives have a bigger place called parliament. That is a legislative body. They are there to make legislations, laws. Essentially laws. There are other petty duties with it. But parliament is a body of legislatures. And beside the parliamentary structure, we have the executive structure. When parliament makes laws, it is up to the chief executive, which is the prime minister or the president, who is supposed to execute the laws made by the lawmakers, parliament. So our president, for example, is supposed to be responsible to make sure that the laws made by parliament given to him, he distributes the laws to his ministers for them to implement the rules and regulations as made by parliament. When he does that, then it is up to the judiciary, the legal structures, the law or justice institutions. They are there to see that anyone who abuses the laws shall be disciplined, shall be punished, or find a way to prevent that thing from happening. So we have the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary responsible for governing the people of that area. And in this case, in fact, most countries have what they call constitution. They write all the rules and regulations. It is the biggest legal document, the constitution of every country, that contain the source or the base of all the legal institutions in the country. So the constitution will say that if you are part of it, you are a citizen. We call you a citizen because your mom and dad are from Ghana. They were born here. Therefore, you too, you are a citizen of the nation. Or if you are not, you can register yourself with the Registrar General to become a citizen. There's a process. And I'm not interested in that thing. We are all citizens of this nation. So it is up to us to select someone to go to represent us in the assembly of lawmakers, which is parliament. So they call this democratic. The democracy means people's, that is democracy, government, people's government, for the people, by the people, and government of the people. Now here my key point, which really baffles me, is that in Ghana, have we ever had a democratic government? Or have we had an oligarchic government? That's government by the few, for the few. Or have we had a dictatorship, governed by a single person, controlling everything? Now, let's go deeper into our area, what they call democratic government. The Constitution allows a group of people or members or citizens of the nation to come together to form a group called party or political party. A party is to select someone, bring that person to the populace, to vote for that person to go to represent them in parliament or even the assembly. It's all electoral process. Now, if you look at all of this, in Ghana, we have at least, I think, about 250 elected MPs. I'm not sure of the figure. I'm sure it's more than 200 elected parliamentarians who have been originally selected by party executive in the area. It is the party that selects that individual and brings that individual to us to vote for him or vote against him. Incidentally, we have about 5 political parties in the state, in the country. But 2 of them is the biggest ones because they claim to have more representatives or more supporters in the nation. And these 2 parties are NDC, National Democratic Congress, and NPP. NPP, National New Patriotic Party. That is a political group. It is a political institution, which according to the Constitution is a national party. The same thing applies to the NDC, which is a national party. CPP and other political parties are registered. The Constitution allows them to register and also select someone, bring to us, the people, to vote for them, to go to make legislations and run the country. Now, if you think of this very closely or carefully or critically, if a party nominates John Johnson and bring John Johnson to the area to be voted for, and John Johnson is being voted to Parliament, John Johnson's responsibility is to see that he's there to represent you and I, the people. He's there for us because we elected him. But do we really see these people we vote for as our representative? Or they represent that group or the party which nominated him to bring him to us to vote for? If you look at the practical side of this, you see that all the MPs, all of them, I will not say most, are controlled by the political parties, executives, who originally nominated him to us to vote for. So if he goes to Parliament, whatever he does, even if he has a personal view of how to improve the life of the people in the area, it is the party executive who will tell him, John Johnson, don't do that today. No, when it's about 6 months to election time, be very careful. We nominated you. If you don't listen to us, 4 years will come. We will not nominate you. The party will put pressure. If I not even put pressure, the party sees itself as responsible to dictate to the elected person on every action he takes in Parliament. The MPs don't have personal authority or personal intent to do something for you and I, if the party executive object to that. The same thing applies to the president. He stood on a platform with a party symbol. It is the party that selected him to come to the public for us to vote him to become our president. It is the party that dictates to the president what the party want him to do, not necessarily what the president wants to do. The president may have a very serious concern about a specific problem in the community, but it is the party that will tell him That, oh yes, we understand. It's part of our manifesto, but don't now. Don't do it. Don't talk about it. Don't take any action. It is the party that is dictating to all elected members of the nation. And this is not just Ghana. All so-called democratic countries, including Britain and US. It is a party executive which is putting pressure on them. In fact, there's another group called pressure groups or interest groups. These pressure groups or the interest groups are the people who have businesses and money, who give money to the parties to run election for a specific selected person. So whoever is financing that elected person campaign expenses and every expenses, when the person wins or the party wins, it is that interest group, that businessman who has money, who pay for all the expenses. He comes to the scene as a pressure person, putting pressure on the party and also that person who is elected. It doesn't matter whether it's an MP or a president. So here again, what I'm trying to point out is this. This interest group in the country, businesses and the rich people, and the party executive, the party leaders, they are dictating affairs of all the MPs and president of the nation. So if you call our system, the so-called democracy, as a democratic government, I'm telling you, it's a serious mistake. It's an oligarchic government. In fact, personally, Asamoah-Yaw, I call it partycracy. It is my own word. This system of government called democratic government is not democratic government. It's an oligarchic government. It is governed by groups like the party and the rich people in the society who are telling the parliamentarians and the president what to do and what not to do. And in fact, if someone breaks a law, the judiciary, which is responsible for that, can be instructed by the party or the pressure groups not to punish that person who disobeyed the law. So, in short, what I'm trying to let you, the listener, know precisely is that the type of democracy we have here, which we copied from the West, especially Britain and America, the type of democracy, so-called democracy we copied from them, it is not a democratic government. It is an oligarchic government, and I call it a partycracy government. It's a government for few and not for many. It is formed by the few and not the many. It is the few privileged people at the top who are controlling you and I. So next time when you are going to cast a vote, be very, very careful. Because if you think critically, you see that, wow, our MP, when he was campaigning, he said, when he comes, he will do this, he will make sure this and that and that and that. He will bring happiness and progress. But if you look at it carefully, the Constitution says all these politically elected groups are there for 4 years. If you look at the 4-year performance of these elected people and compare to before they came to power, compare before and now, can you measure your progress that they made 1% or 30% in your life progress? Did they do anything that makes you more comfortable than you used to be? And if not, then why? Why? So my concern is that not until we show to these elected people that all the promises they gave us, we don't see the benefit of electing them. Now, that doesn't mean that we should not elect them. We should not vote. We have to really think critically before we cast our votes. Because the Constitution itself, the 1992 Constitution we have in Ghana here, there are so many clauses which help these elected members to do what they do. They know there are so many faults in the Constitution that need to be changed. That will help the populace, you and I. But because of the interest they gain from the Constitution clauses, it is so hard for them to change. So difficult for them to revise the Constitution. It is so crazy. And please, you who is listening to me, if you can get a chance, get a copy of the Constitution. In fact, if you can buy, you can even see it in Google, Ghana 1992 Constitution. There are so many privileges and so many rights that the elected members and the president constitutionally have the right to enjoy their position. They're supposed to make you and I comfortable. But if you measure their performance for the 4-year period to that before the 4-year period, you see that you're not benefiting in any way. They are there for themselves and also for the interest groups who finances all these propositions and all this election process. So we're being deceived by the Constitution. My main concern here, that as a Ghanaian, if I can do something to cause a change in the Ghana Constitution, right from chapter 1 all the way to the end, change them. Because if you look at how the whole Constitution has been interpreted from 1992 to date, you see that we are deteriorating every time. There's no progress anywhere. No progress. They are not going to do anything that will benefit you and I. The Constitution must be changed. In fact, it should be washed out. And a new and proper one that should replace what we have, such that it will guarantee that the government is for us, the ordinary people. That the government knows what is wrong and they will not practice that which makes us unhappy or uncomfortable. There are so many clauses that need to be changed completely. And I'm begging all of you to find a way. But even that, how are you going to succeed? Because the party leaders are so bossy and so arrogant, you can't even talk to them. You can't even communicate with them. They have their own agenda. You know? Or you have to be part of the interest group. And how do you become part of this rich group who finances all these political activities? How do you talk to them to change anything? They all benefit from the Constitution. So there should be a way. I wish there would be someone who will have superpower to grab the Constitution and start from chapter 1. Keep on changing, especially the one responsible for civil rights. Every Ghanaian who is a Ghanaian, call himself a Ghanaian, like me, I'm a Ghanaian. My mom and dad and everyone in my system is a Ghanaian. I was born here. I'm an Ashanti. You know, I'm a Ghanaian. But the Constitution is saying that I have a right to control myself. I have a right to be dignified. I have a right to pursue my personal interest as long as my interest does not disturb the interests of others. In fact, even the Constitution does not clarify this issue. As a citizen of Ghana, the Constitution should clarify clearly what makes a Ghanaian Ghanaian. There are several clauses which helps the parliamentarians to do whatever they're doing. There are clauses in the Constitution which says that the political party has a right to influence government decision. Meaning that if a party has been instructed by the pressure group to do this, the party can put pressure on the elected members. This is what we want you to do. According to our mandate, we want you to do this, don't do that. I think we should restrict the power levels of all the parties or groups of individuals in this nation. We should really control that as closely as possible. We must control them because the Constitution is not efficient. I don't know why Jerry Rawlings and those people at the time created it. In fact, it was Jerry Rawlings who created this NDC party, or I think I'm right. They had an objective. And I think it's not helping you and I. This democratic government is a particracy government, or should I say oligarchy government. It is for the few, and it is not for many under there. We have to change it. My main reason for talking today is that our democracy is messed up. It is not like those in Britain, France, US, and so forth, and Germany. No, it's not like that. Even though there are pressure groups all over the places. But politicians make sure that the promises they give to the public is implemented. They try, they succeed. I've gone through that. I've lived there for 35 years, and I know what I'm talking about. The elected members make sure they do something that they can be remembered by the people of the area. But here, no. Elected members don't do that. He wants to get the biggest car, the biggest house. It's so crazy. They are there for their interest. The interest of the few. This government is an oligarchic government. It's a particracy government, which we should get rid of. Please, think about what I'm saying. And you can criticize me, but before you do that, please do critical thinking. This Constitution is rotten. It's not good for you and I. We have to do something about it. But who's going to do it? Those who are implementing it are benefiting from it. How can you expect Parliament to go to sit down to change the Constitution? How? It benefits them. In the Constitution, we have a national commission that is responsible for planning and controlling all government actions. It is in the Constitution. But have you ever heard of these people, this committee's action, controlling any government action? The party is in charge of that. National Commission for Development. It's a useless institution, but the Constitution says there is. And in fact, it is the president that has to appoint the people, the representative of that commission. It's so crazy. All of this should be modified in the Constitution. We have to change them. Because the Constitution is making mess. It's making life so miserable for us, the people. I hope you guys are listening to me carefully. Just Get a copy of the Constitution and study it, and compare it to the practical issues of these elected members. Compare the constitutional clauses to the practical actions of the elected people, and you see if I'm wrong. So I'm going to end up here. You know, sometimes I talk too much, but before I start talking about anything in Ghana, I want you to know that I'm so much concerned. I'm a Ghanaian, and some actions need to be performed. But unfortunately, the people out there are not ready for it. They are not ready. They are not there. They are there for themselves. Very soon we shall be asked to go to vote. It's so crazy. Another thing that I think I have to mention here with these government actions. You know, there's a government institution which is supposed to control the environmental factors, things that are within the environment. There is an environmental ministry responsible to see that the environment is healthy, it's livable, it's progressive. The environmental department, for example, is here to control volume level. All the sounds in the country, like this information centers, the so-called Christians or pastors with loudspeakers in the street, preaching the gospel, whether it's Christian or Muslim or whatever it is, the sound control. There's a legislation which gives decibel sound volume control from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. There's a limit that you cannot exceed. I think it's about 48 to 52 decibels. I'm not sure of this, but check it on the computer. You see, go to Google, environmental control of sound or noise. You can see what I'm talking about. From 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and also from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Some people have created information centers in the whole country, and some churches everywhere with biggest loudspeakers, making noise above the legislative level. Environmental division of government is supposed to control this volume level. Nobody gives a damn. So much noise is made in the night, in the daytime, everywhere, anytime. And if really there is a group of people called environmental, oh dear, I've forgotten the title. They are paid every month to make sure that the laws are obeyed. Yes, every month they get salary for being employee of the environmental division of the government. What are they doing about this noise level? Pastors are preaching loud. If you go to ask them, they tell you he's preaching the gospel. In fact, it is somewhere in the book of Proverbs. It says, "Mumfan tumpan enye de de nyamiaye." Take musical instruments to make noise, to honor or to glorify God. It is in the Holy Bible. So they don't care making noise. And you see, you and I, black people, when we're doing something that makes us comfortable, we don't care that our comfort level is disturbing our neighbor's comfort. The noise they are making is disturbing the neighborhood. Environmental agency is responsible for controlling this. And who is not? I don't know why. Why are they not controlled? All the citizens that are making noise, don't they know that that which they are doing that makes them happy and comfortable is disturbing others' comfort? You know, I feel so bad about this. And the interesting thing is, when you travel out, you see that this noise is not available out there. You can't do it. It's an impossibility because you'll be arrested. Yes, you will be arrested and charged, disciplined. Here, nobody gives a damn. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a damn. So my concern is, please, let's make sure that the laws are respected and the bad laws are replaced with good laws that will ensure discipline, progress, and happiness. Anyway, I'm going to end up here. I hope next time I will continue my little talks, hoping that you listen carefully and put it into critical thinking and see if there's anything we can do to change the situation. Thank you so much.